Oh, long time. Did you miss me? Fellow Toastmasters, and especially Tom. Tom was giving a speech from the Advanced Storytelling Manual, the touching story. The objective is to present an original story designed to evoke emotion among the listeners using description and dialogue, not to use a script or notes, and to basically tell us a story. And you did that superbly. It was a very personal story, as it turned out, although it wasn't clear at first. We moved the lectern out of the way, and we're basically just presenting the story to us as if we were sitting around a campfire or something like that. So, wonderful execution of the project. Now, they say that parents are always blamed, but never trained. And I think that being a foolish parent is hereditary. I think my dad learned it from his dad, and I learned it from him, and my kids will probably learn it from me. So it was a very provocative title, Raised by a Fool. You say, well, okay, who is this fool? What's going on? I began, as you continue with the story, I began to suspect who that might be. But again, you saved that for the end in a nice surprising twist. Now, what emotions did you experience is one of the questions. And I felt a lot of empathy for the fool, having been a parent myself, and knowing, you come from the hospital and they hand you this thing, what do you do with it? The nurses were doing everything there. Well, now what do I do? It doesn't come with a manual. You did use dialogue in places. I will come back to that. That was something that was mentioned. And I particularly like the statement where you said something like anyone can be a father, but it takes wisdom to be a parent. And that is quite apparent. Some suggestions. I thought there were many more places for dialogue. I thought the story could have been much more effective if things like when you said that the wife went to work, and instead of just describing the narrative, have the wife talk. Say, honey, it's time for me to get a job. Or things more with the children, Daddy, Nathan drove his bike off into the, things like that, to just really draw us in a little bit more instead of the narrative. Again, it was a very compelling story. I would have liked to have heard, I had empathy for the fool. I would have liked to have heard us thinking, why was he doing these things? What made him, they seemed like actually reasonable things from anyone who's not a parent. Teach him a lesson, say if you hold somebody's head underwater, this is what it's like. That's something which is done. And where was his wife during all this? But that's what. Anyway, there was, you did have a very nice climax, and Nathan seemed to turn out pretty well. So how bad could it have been? A wonderful story. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.